All right, guys, we're back. We're heading on to lesson number 2 of the book, Going Where We Have Not Been. Okay, I do have a copy right here. And because of the way I'm recording, if I show it to you, it's going to look backwards. But I'm going to show it to you anyway because I just think that it looks cool. So this is the cover of the book. And again, you can find this book on Amazon under my name, Jamil Mooney, and it will populate for you. Okay, so lesson number 2. Guess what we're going to be talking about? Innovation. So this lesson series will deal with innovation. Okay, so let's start here. So previously we talked about the industrial revolutions. We talked about established the fact that God is the creator. He created the universe. He created all things. He created humanity. Colossians chapter 1, verses 16 through 17. And from that, he decided to become creative or express his creativity. And he did that by creating the universe, creating the world, creating angels, dominions, thrones, princes, and most of all, he created humans. And we're talking about Homo sapiens. Okay. The reason I keep saying Homo sapiens is because there were other variations of humans before us, but they were not made in the image of God, which is why Darwin's theory of evolution believed that humans evolved from monkeys. So when you look at some of these variations of these humanoids in prior years before the previous 6,000, when Adam came, some of them have features that look like monkeys. And I think one of them is like Homo elongatus, maybe was his name. Okay. And when you see him, it looks like the skull of a monkey. Okay. First of all, I'm telling you that because number one, we didn't evolve from monkeys. Okay. Homo sapiens are a byproduct of God. He holds the patent, which we'll talk about in just a couple seconds. But at the same time, there were other variations of humans before. And so this whole cycle of life beginning and ending and coming to the end of age has been going on, which is why I told you that 7 days of creation, 1 day with the Lord is as 1,000 years. 6,000 years have passed. We are entering into the 7th day. We are coming to the end of the age. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at a couple things. Number one, the idea of innovation just simply talks about introducing something new or adding value to something that already exists. Okay. I think it's important to say this is that whatever you seek out, you will find. Whatever you go looking for, whatever you have an interest in, if you go seeking, if it requires a seek, it means that there's something deeper to it. It's almost like the idea of diamonds. You don't find diamonds on top of the ground. They're always hidden beneath the earth. You know what I'm saying? They're hidden in the ground. You have to search for them. Okay. And also reminds me of Proverbs 25:2 that says, it is the glory of God to conceal things, but it is the glory of kings to search that matter out. Okay. And basically what that means is that God has revelation. He has concepts and ideas and things about him that are not readily on the surface or readily like just in the Bible on the front of the pages. There are some things, that only the people who spend time searching and digging and aspiring and wanting to know that will be revealed. And that goes whether we're talking about the kingdom of light or the kingdom of darkness. Okay. So with that being said, let me see if I can adjust this 1 sec. I just want to see if I can add just a little bit of light. I look a little dark. Okay. That looks a little bit better. Okay. Luckily these are informal. Okay. So information has an exchange element to it. Okay. And by that, I mean the info that you gain, it can be beneficial to you. It can be beneficial to your community or even to the world at large. Okay. And I think that that's important to understand simply because, and let me give you a good example. In the Garden of Eden, we talk about the fruit, and we know that the fall of humanity happened because Adam ate the fruit, right? But the fruit that they ate, the word for fruit in the original language, and so if you don't know, side piece, that the Bible is written in Hebrew, Aramaic in the Old Testament, and in the New Testament is written in Greek primarily. There are some Latin and other things in there. But the word fruit in the original language, which is Hebrew, is a word that speaks of the word exchange or reward. And so what this literally means is that whatever the fruit that was on this tree, it wasn't eaten for nutrition. It was eaten for the method of exchange, as in, I eat this, I get something in return. We're not talking about nutrition. And so I'll give you an example. So when you read the story of Adam, Eve, and the serpent, when they are talking to the serpent, it literally says that Eve looked at this tree and said that the fruit appears to make one wise. So the whole purpose of the fruit on this tree was that it had wisdom. So if they ate the fruit, they would gain wisdom. And he told him, he was like, if you eat this, you're going to get smarter. Your eyes are going to be open. You're going to be like God. You're going to become something else. Okay. And so just from that aspect, the spirit world, has created beings there who have intelligence and have technology and things to offer humanity, just the same way that God does. God has technology. He has intelligence and information, that he, put inside of humans as they're created, and we see them as gifts and things that we can do and interests that we have. But there's also things that are readily available that can be acquired, that can be downloaded into humans as well. Okay. And so because of that, we have to look at it from the perspective of, like, for an example, there are some people who want to solve problems. There are people who like engineers and things of that nature. There are just certain professions that their job is to make life easier. So I'm thinking about people like Jacob Schaefer. I think he was 1767. I think that he was fed up with dirty clothes. And so he ended up inventing a washing machine, right? And another good example is Carl Benz. Carl Benz was also another German engineer / scientist, and he created the first automobile. I think it was like 1871. Okay, and so you see these guys who were looking about how to advance humanity, how to make things better. Okay, so that's a small percentage. But the statement that I want to make overall is, my theory is that all innovation is spiritual. Okay, all innovation, most innovation is spiritual, which means that behind all innovation is inspiration. And even if you look at the word inspiration in the middle, it looks like the word spirit is there. Okay. And so Daniel, even in Daniel 12:4, said that in the last days that knowledge will increase. Okay. And that term knowledge there in the original language literally means that things that have always been are going to now be known. Okay, so there's going to be knowledge that is going to be gained that has always been, but for some odd reason has potentially been hidden for a time period. Okay. Again, the Bible, let's just talk about the Bible. The Bible is full of inventors, designers, educators the Bible tells you was inspired by the Spirit of God to do things, right? Including write the Bible. That is probably one of the best examples. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's talk about Noah, right? The Bible says that in Genesis chapter 6, that God calls Noah for a global project. He wants him to build a boat, something that has not been seen because it's going to rain, it's going to flood. At that time, according to the Bible, it had never rained on the earth. So Noah literally built something that had never been seen. So he was inspired by God. God literally gave him the blueprints. He even sent him the wood and the materials and the help that he needed. So the wood that he used was called gopher wood. We have never seen gopher wood on the planet after that up until this day. It literally means that in heaven or something, there must be like a Lowe's, and God literally sent him all of the resources, the wood that he needed to build this ark that was 3 football fields long, right? And so we can track the inspiration of Noah because we can track the conversation that he's having with God. And so around 2576, he done something. He built a shipwright, whatever you want to call it. He became a shipwright. He built a ship. And all of you people who like to go on cruises, all of you people who like to go on boat rides and go fishing, you can thank Noah because he was the inventor. He was the designer of the very, very first one. Another good example is the sons of Cain. Genesis chapter 4, the Bible literally says that these guys began to design and invent. They built tents, they built instruments, They was good with brass and iron and making weapons, and they were building cities, things that have not been seen. So you know the story of Cain. The Bible says that Cain was sent out from the presence of God, and so he went out and began to build. So whatever the inspiration he was having was not from God. Apart from the creative nature that he possessed, there was something else that, or someone else, you know what I'm saying, that was inspiring these guys, that were spearheading. And we'll talk about that in future lessons. Another good example, 2 Timothy 3:16 says the Bible, the scriptures, is given by inspiration of God. That's probably one of the best examples. So we have 36 authors of the Bible total that cover about 6,000 years total, 4,000 of it being past, 2,000 of it being futuristic. And so from that, we see that the inspiration of these people came from the Spirit of God. That's why I'm trying to tell you that most innovation is inspired by something spiritual. Okay. And so in Noah's day, there was a strong foundation established. And that's why I use it in this lesson. And it's just simply that in the Bible, Genesis 6, there were sons of God, angels who came and slept with the daughters of men, and they made these hybrid offspring called giants. And these guys were 450 foot tall beings. They were super smart, super intelligent, super strong. They did things like, according to extra biblical texts, like the book of Enoch, which is a legit book because it's referenced in the Bible. It literally says that these angels, first of all, the angels that they taught humanity arts. So we're talking witchcraft, sorcery, taught them astrology, cosmetics, and then their sons grew up and became designers and architects as well. So they built stuff like the pyramids, they built Stonehenge, they built the statues on Easter Island. So if you aren't familiar with those megalithic structures, that's the term that's popular now. The giants in those days were the progenitors of those things. Okay, so I say all that to say this: innovation is always a byproduct of inspiration, and inspiration is always usually spirit based. You know what I'm saying? You can be inspired by someone, you know what I'm saying? But for the sake of this, we're talking about a bigger cause. Why? Because Jesus said that in the days of his coming, it would be like it was in the days of Noah. And so much of the inspiration that happened in that day was because of spirit beings who were inspiring and also working along with humans. Okay, so our day, we will see a lot of innovation, and much of that will be inspired by high functioning spiritual intelligence. Okay, so the idea is that if you can track the inspiration, you can track the purpose. And if you can track the purpose, you can track the plan. Okay, we're over 3 minutes. That's all I got for this lesson. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Rewind as much as you need to. Please make sure you're taking notes or doing something so that this can be sketched in your long-term memory. And I will see you guys in the next lesson.